Okay, everybody, hold up your cell phones. Switch off the ringer. Turn on the video. I want to see 27 versions of this show tomorrow. I was working online. I was talking on Bluetooth, downloading songs, checking email and Yahoo. Texting my friends, I tweeted 20 new tweets. On Facebook, my brain began to overheat. My new tablet's high-def digital camera wouldn't sync up with my printer fax scanner. The tech support guy started yakking away, lost in translation all the way from Bombay. I had to break out of this techno mood. I needed something primal, like a big hunk of food. For a nano moment, I forgot where it is, so I Googled directions from my den to my fridge. I was so fried, I wondered how much bandwidth it would take for my iPod to download a sandwich. And deep in my hard drive, a feeling took root. My brain just might crash if I didn't reboot. All this hyper technology is streaming me crazy. I've picked up a virus called cyberspacey. The neurotransmitters in my cerebellum making gray matter chatter, but nothing is gelling. These gizmos and gigabytes are geeking me out. Single tasking is obsolete now. I need to slow down. My life is a blur, got an analog brain in a digital world. I jumped in my hybrid, turned on satellite radio, strapped on my hands-free and fired up my sat phone. Almost backed over my mom on her Segway. The dashboard lit up, said I was low on latte. Where was Starbucks? I could only guess. My PDA can't do GPS. I stopped for directions and wandered in here and wound up singing to you. Isn't that weird? All this hyper technology is starting to pile up. The planet's on broadband, my head's on dial-up. Reality is virtually cluttered. My neural connection's starting to sputter. These gizmos and gigabytes are geeking me out. Single tasking is obsolete now. I need to slow down. My life is a blur, got an analog brain in a digital world. Thank you. I'm not making this up. There was a study in England that showed that multitasking lowers your IQ more than smoking dope. I always think, well, I bet they didn't have trouble getting volunteers for that one. There's another study, you might have read about it, more recent, done by Microsoft, that showed that human beings now have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. Goldfish, 8 seconds. Human beings, 7 seconds. Why is this? Screens. We're constantly switching screens. So it turns out there's all kinds of studies going on about multitasking and what it does to the brain and the body, because so many of us are doing it. So just a couple. The University of Michigan, they show that multitasking decreases your efficiency from between 20 to 40%. There's a medical group that showed that multitasking raises the stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. So it tends to become an addictive behavior because it's engaging these stress hormones. My favorite one was at Harvard. You could have been part of it if you can get email on your phone. All you had to do was sign up with Harvard, with the group at Harvard, and every day the head scientist from this group at Harvard would email you several times a day, let's say 5 times a day, with two questions. What are you doing right now, and how happy are you? And it was fascinating. I heard him on NPR. You might have heard him. And he said they found out all this amazing stuff, but mainly what they found out is that the people that are way up here on the happy meter are doing one thing, and they're absorbed in it. And the people that are way down here on the happy meter are jumping around, doing different things, switching screens, switching tasks, multitasking, and they're feeling stressed. So it seems obvious to me from all these studies, and there's been a couple dozen at least, that these amazing brains we have in here, these miracles of human evolution up here in our heads, after all this time, these amazing brains that we have still not only work better doing one thing at a time, but are happier doing one thing at a time. So, is everybody happy? Anybody not completely here? Okay, good. Well, now you know the meaning of this phrase, analog brain in a digital world. People immediately think it's about slow adopters like me that are always the last ones to get any kind of technology. That's me. But it's not about that, really. It's about honoring the simple fact that my brain has more fun and gets more done one thing at a time. If you're in school, it's a great way to get an advantage on all your classmates because you know how to be more efficient. You know how to get more work done in a quicker time and be happier because you're doing one thing at a time. Great thing to learn. Anyway, it's kind of Zen, don't you think? I mean, the monks teach this, the lamas know this. I mean monks, not pack animals. So here we go. Called a llama. I saw little Buddha in the checkout line at the grocery store today. Called the llamas. He was sitting like a prince in his grocery cart with a perfect smile on his face. His mom and dad preoccupied with paying for their food. They could not see him smile at me with calm beatitude. Call the llama. I saw little Buddha in the checkout line at the grocery store today. Call the llama. He was sitting like a prince in his grocery cart with a perfect smile on his face. And here's the chorus. Om. Say Om. Om. Then suddenly in front of me I saw three little girls, their mother bagging groceries while around her feet they swirled. Their peals of laughter silenced as they all looked up to see little Buddha smiling at them beatifically. He leaned down toward them, holding all them in a state of bliss. Then one by one they each received his transcendental kiss. Call the llama. I saw little Buddha in the checkout line at the grocery store today. Call the llama. He was sitting like a prince in his grocery cart with a perfect smile on his face. Here we go. Oh, say Om. Oh, come on, louder. Oh, saw a little Buddha on the checkout line at the grocery store. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome. Glad you're here. I know it's a nice May day out there, so thanks for coming in, spending an hour or so with me. We'll get you out of here in plenty of time to enjoy the afternoon. We're just going to go on a little musical journey through life, have some fun with some of the places we tend to maybe get stuck or trip or whatever. I have some ideas where we're going to go, but if there are people here that have requests, we may have time for that a little bit later on. Anyway, that song was for anybody that has a little Buddha in their life or a little Buddhette. It's always special. It's always magical. Personally, I don't have any kids. I do have a dog. Very high energy, active dog. Former street dog. Was living on the street. Just showed up one day, refused to leave. Like a lot of my former girlfriends. Because she's a street dog, she's really part wild animal. Like a lot of my former girlfriends. I like to be the man my dog thinks I am. I know I'd go to heaven if I could be that good. So I'm trying to act like I know my dog thinks I should. You know, the later I come home, the happier she is to see me. And I don't have to buy chocolates or flowers or jewelry. And she likes it when my crazy old buddies come over. Yeah, the more I learn about life, the more I love her. I like to be the man my dog thinks I am. She don't spend hours in the bathroom cluttering up my sink. In fact, she only comes in there for a quick little drink. And she likes petting in public, and her cousins don't visit. And if she's got a problem, you can bet she'll lick it. I'd like to be the man my dog thinks I am. I know I'd go to heaven if I could be that good. So I'm trying to act like I know my dog thinks I should. No, I don't have to call home every time I'm running late. She thinks all my jokes are funny and that I sing great. You know, dogs don't want to stop and examine the relationship or ask you to make midlife course corrections. And dogs understand that following your instincts is better than stopping to ask for directions. And dogs like it when you leave stuff laying around on the floor. You don't have to wait on a dog to get ready. She's ready to go when you are. So do y'all know the spiritual difference between dogs and cats? It's like this. Dogs see the people give them food and love and water, and they don't have to do anything, and they think, these people are giving me food and love and water, and well, I don't have to do anything. They must be gods. And cats see the people give them food and water and love, and they don't have to do anything, and they think, I must be a god. Well, these two guys walking down the street, and one's got a Doberman, one's got a Chihuahua. And the guy with the Doberman says, hey, it's hot out here today. Let's go in this bar and get a drink. And the guy with the Chihuahua says, we can't go in there. We have dogs. They won't let us in. And the guy says, well, we'll just tell them there are seeing eye dogs and they have to let us in. And he walks in. And the bartender sees him. He says, hey, get out of here with that dog. You can't bring a dog in here. And the guy says, no, my seeing eye dog. And the bartender says, yeah, right, a Doberman? And the guy says, that's right. They found out they're really smart and they're really good at this, and that's what they're using now. The bartender says, oh, all right. So the guy with the Chihuahua walks in. The bartender sees him and says, hey, get out of here with that dog. You can't bring a dog in here. The guy says, no, it's my seeing eye dog. The bartender says, yeah, right, a Chihuahua? The guy says, what? They gave me a Chihuahua? That's such a silly joke. Oh, I just love it. I like to be the man my dog thinks I am. Thank you, thank you. There's a quote I love by Robert Heinlein. You remember him, the great science fiction writer? Stranger in a Strange Land and some other books. He said, a long time ago, he said, women and cats will do as they please, and men and dogs should relax and get over it. Yeah. 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 It's just progress is all that is. So this is a song about women. It's a song for women. And I think of it as a love song for women. But I'll be honest with you, I had this idea floating around in my head for a long time and I was afraid to write it. Because I didn't know it was okay for a guy to deliver this message. So years went by and finally I thought, this is stupid. You know, maybe I just need to talk to a woman. So I went to my friend, Karen Taylor Good, who's a wonderful singer-songwriter, fun person, great gal. I said, Karen, here's this idea. What do you think? If I write this, what's that? You're looking at me online. Is it working? Okay. That was weird. It was like I was talking to myself from heaven. I said, Karen, if I write this, can I sing it? Can a guy deliver this? She said, I don't know. She said, but if I write it with you, you'll be safe. So, yeah. So we wrote it together, and, you know, now I feel like I have permission. So this is called Skin. That's the name of the song, Skin. And actually you have a part, very, very simple part. This is the lick that goes through the song. And right after that lick, here's what you do. Right in the middle of the lick. Skin. Skin. Yeah, it's a loud whisper. Come on, here we go. Skin. Oh, that was good. One more. Skin. Okay, so whenever we get to that part, that lick, I'm going to cue you, and I need a nice, loud skin. I want to talk about you, darling, and skin. I know you. How's this go? I want to talk about you, darling, and skin. You know I love to look at you and touch the skin you're in. All your lotions and potions, I really am impressed. But here's a little something that I need to confess. Skin. You don't ever have to make your face up for me. I'm hooked on the look you got naturally. I know it's kind of fun to get all glamored up, but don't buy the story that you need it for love. You read it in the magazines, you see it on TV. You're sold a phony notion that you're only skin deep. But you don't have to color it, tighten it, or thin it. Oh, what really turns me on is that you're comfortable in it. Here we go. Skin. some of your friends, I think they've really flipped their wig. They shoot poison in their brow and puff their lips up big. They suck the fat from underneath, let doctors cut and lift it, and try to rearrange the skin that gravity has shifted. Well, think of all the time wasted and money spent trying to ignite a spark when in the end you don't have to color it, stretch it, or thin it. No, what really turns me on is that you're comfortable in it. Scared. You're never quite as gorgeous as when you don't hide. Show me what you know is beautiful inside. The power of attraction is multiplied by 10. I love it when we're real and nothing is pretend. There's nothing to make up for, you're fabulous enough. And I love kissing you without that sticky lip stuff. You don't have to color it, stretch it, or thin it. No, what really turns me on is that you're comfortable in it. Scared. Scared. What really turns me on is that you're comfortable in it. Good job! Good job! Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just wish some big country guy would record that, you know, somebody with daughters. Because, you know, the message, I don't have to tell you this, I'm preaching to the choir, but the message is from our culture that, you know, you have to look a certain way. Especially, this is really tough on girls growing up. They get all these messages, you have to look a certain way to be okay, and that's just take it from a guy. The most attractive thing you can ever do, whether you want to attract guys or girls, or it doesn't matter, the most attractive thing you can ever do is love yourself. Just love yourself and radiate that out into the universe. Irresistible. Irresistible. Okay. Brings us to marriage. Talking to my friend Bobby Nathan down in Florida, somehow we got on the subject of relationships, and Bobby's passed on now, but he had been divorced twice, and he was bemoaning the fact that he'd been divorced, that they couldn't make either marriage work. It was just too hard. It was just too much work. And I said, Bobby, you know, a lot of people find it hard, challenging to have a successful relationship because it does bring up all your stuff, and there's a lot of work involved unless you're just really lucky or really out of it. You know, most people have to do some work. So, you know, it's okay if it's hard work. And he said, hell yes, it's hard work. Not even Jesus did it. I said, hold that thought. And, you know, wrote that down. So, you know, I'm really thinking about the fact that a lot of the saints and sages and spiritual masters, you know, they didn't do it. So here's a song called Jesus Was a Bachelor. The man I most admire spread love throughout his world. The man I most admire was not out chasing girls. He looked around, saw the deal, said, I can't do this. I'm gonna get my 12 best buds, go drink wine and fish. Jesus was a bachelor, and so was Buddha too. Could it be that they knew something more than me and you? Buddha cut the ties that bind and headed for nirvana. Women tried to marry Jesus, but he said, I don't wanna. Relationships take lots of time and compromise at best. Maybe all the saints knew they could never pass that test. Take Mother Teresa, chose to do good works instead. They say nuns all married Jesus, but, well, he's dead. Jesus was a bachelor and so was Buddha too. Could it be that they knew something more than me and you? Buddha chose enlightenment over married life. Jesus couldn't save mankind and satisfy a wife. So if all of your friends are saying I do, but you just won't, take comfort in the fact that even Jesus said I don't. If you want to set your sights on more ethereal worlds, don't let your lower chakras chase material boys and girls. Jesus was a bachelor and so was Buddha too. Could it be that they knew something more than me and you? Buddha left his family for much less worldly pastures. Jesus was too busy getting ready for the rapture. Well, some folks now dispute this thought that Jesus was unwed. A rabbi single in those days, there is no way, they've said. Well, as for me, I think the way of partnering is best, 'cause I'd like to be enlightened and still be having. Jesus was a bachelor, well, maybe not. Maybe he was married and that church in Rome forgot. Some say Mary Magdalene was wife and apostle. I don't know what you think, but I say, hey, it's possible. There's one more possibility we should not overlook. Maybe there's another way that Jesus was mistook. I know what I'm suggesting is not what some want to hear. But if it troubles you, then it's not love you feel, but fear. If Jesus was a bachelor, then maybe he was gay. That would be quite frightening for some Christians today. They'd like to ban gay marriage, but the Bible's been misconstrued. What kind of Christianity judges and excludes? Thank you. Okay, everybody's still here. Good. Sometimes we lose people on that one. I have this little tuner on my guitar. I was talking about my guitar this morning. Anybody not here this morning? Here today that's not here this morning? Anybody? Everybody here was here this morning? Okay. I was talking about my guitar. Well, one of the things, it has this little tuner, so I can just turn it on, hit the on switch, and then I hit a string, and it has these dots that light up. And so if it's flat, it lights up red over here. If it's sharp, it lights up red over here, and it's blinking. So you hit the string, and first of all, it tells you what note you're playing, which is handy. This is a D flat, and it's flat. The D flat is flat. So you start to tune the string, and as you get close to the right pitch, the blinking slows down, so you know you're getting close. You get on the exact right perfect pitch, stops blinking, turns green. I just love this. It's cool. Don't you think it's cool? I always think, wouldn't it be great if they had these for relationships? Not tonight, honey. You're blinking. Sorry. So I said this morning that Linda Berry said, "Love is an exploding cigar we willingly smoke," which I think is a funny quote. And as I also said, I don't think the cigar has to explode as much as it does. I think one of the main reasons the cigar explodes is that we get so much bad modeling, so much bad cultural modeling, cultural training about how relationships are supposed to work, what they're supposed to be for, what they can and can't do. So one of the ways I like to illustrate this is with music. So whether you realize it or not, if you grew up in the United States, you very likely grew up listening to what I call radio station WVLS, whiny victim love songs. And by the time you get to adulthood, you've heard so many of these songs, all of us have, that and especially by the time we get to middle age, these songs have infected us or affected our brains in ways we don't know the breadth of, the extent of. It's really amazing, and I'm going to demonstrate that. So, by whiny victim love songs, what do I mean? So let me clarify that. I'm not talking about sad songs that say, you're gone and I miss you. That's okay. If you lose somebody, it hurts, and you have to grieve, and a sad song that helps us grieve is fine. I'm talking about songs that go way past that, into the realm of total sickness, and ask for pain in return for love. You might be thinking, are there really many of those? Yeah, there's thousands of them. So as a public service, I've been collecting them. And I have this list called the top 10 whiny victim love songs, and it's really hard to get it down to 10, but I'll give you some favorites, and you can see what I mean here. We're going to start with a hit that's maybe 15, 20 years old by the Cardigans. I don't know who this group is. I just know this was a hit song. And I'm going to play one verse. Listen to this one verse. Try to imagine yourself actually saying this to another human being. So I cry and I plead and I beg. Oh, love me, just say you love me, fool me, go on and fool me, love me, pretend you love me, leave me, just say you need me. Now, is it just me, or is that relationship getting off to a rocky start? I don't have a lot of hope for that one. Smokey Robinson. Treat me like a fool, treat me cruel. No, sorry, this is Elvis. Treat me like a fool, treat me cruel, but love me. Break my faithful heart, tear it all apart, but love me. Kind of a mixed message, don't you think? Smokey Robinson. I don't like you, but I love you. Seems like I'm always thinking of you, though you treat me badly. I love you madly. You really got a hold on me. Now, there's a minor addiction for you. Okay, country. Always a gold mine. You must think I look bad with a smile, for you haven't let me wear one in quite a while. Still I keep coming back. How can this be? Don't you ever get tired of hurting me? Okay, that's an old country song. Here's a new one. If you gotta be somebody's heartbreak, if you gotta be somebody's mistake, be mine. Happy Valentine's Day. There's a subcategory I call the death songs, because there's so many and they say the same thing. And there's lots and lots of them. Can't live without you. Everybody can't live. I can't You see how easy that was? They're in there. They're not going away. They're in there. And there's newer songs that take that idea down even lower. How can I live without you? I want to know. How can I breathe without you if you ever go? If you leave, I quit breathing. No pressure. All right. Here's just one of my favorite lines. When a man loves a woman, sleep out in the rain. If she says that's the way it ought to be. No, it's not happening. Not sleeping in the rain. Noel, you sleeping in the rain? Once you tried it, okay. All right, another huge country hit. Oh, I wish that I could hurt that way again. At least I had you every now and then. At times you would desert me, how the emptiness would hurt me, but your coming back was always worth the pain. Oh, I wish that I could hurt that way again. I mean, how do you even sing it with a straight face? It's too sick. It's just too sick. Once in a while you hear one with some humor written into it, and you know that awareness is kind of bubbling up there. Put another log on the fire. Cook me up some bacon and some beans. And go out to the car and change the tire. Darn my socks and sew my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, fill my pipe and then go fetch my slipper. Boil me up another pot of tea. Put another log on the fire, babe. And come and tell me why you're leaving me. Sometimes all you need is the titles. I have pages. This is not all. Pages of titles of real songs. Real songs like, she was pure as the new fallen snow, but she drifted. I still hold her body, but I think I've lost her mind. My wife ran off with my best friend, and I sure do miss him. Beauty is in the eye of the beer holder. If you won't leave me, I'll find someone who will. Oh, here's my favorite. I'm so miserable without you, it's like you were here. Oh, you see where this is going? And we could do this for the whole rest of the afternoon. There's no shortage of songs. But I know what you're thinking. I've been doing this a long time. I know what you're thinking. Greg, you're right. There's a lot of sick songs floating around out there, Greg. And now that you pointed out, I'm kind of tired of listening to them. I'm kind of tired of polluting my brain with those, depressing my immune system with those negative, whiny love song lyrics, sick messages. Greg, I would like some music that lifts me up, helps me to rise and fly, and fills me with love and laughter and hope and inspiration. Greg, that's the kind of music I need in my life. But Greg, where can I find music like that? Friends, right back there on that little table. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 7 CDs full of music that will uplift, amuse, inspire, and entertain you and your family for decades to come. I know what you're thinking. Greg, 7 CDs, that's great. But Greg, which one should I get? Friends, that is limited thinking. Friends, that is limited thinking. Limited thinking. All right, I thought it was funny. But I don't want you to waste your mental energy on a decision like that. So friends, I have worked it out. So the more CDs you get, the more you save. And if you can't decide and you want to take home the whole Greg Tamblyn collection, the discount is not only unbelievable, you get a free copy of my book, Attila the Gate Agent. Travel tales and life lessons from a musical laphologist. A lot of funny, poignant, uplifting stories like the one you heard this morning. I know what you're thinking. Greg, that is an amazing offer. And I would like to get a set of your CDs and maybe one more for my kids. Now that I think about it, Christmas is right around the corner. But Greg, I just have one question. Did you bring enough for everybody? Yes, there's enough. Okay, so let me tell you quickly. I do have seven CDs. They're all different. There's no overlap. All the songs are different on each one. About half the songs are pretty, about half the songs are funny. Some of them are recorded live with a live audience, some of the comedy. If you're not into CDs, we also have the new USB flash drives. So all of the songs are on the USB along with ebook versions of Attila the Gate Agent. So, if you have a USB slot in your car, you can plug them in there if you want to plug them into your computer and download them that way or listen to them that way. There's, all the options with USB. So those are back there. The book is, like I said, a bunch of true stories, mostly funny, all uplifting, like Attila. A lot of good reviews. You can look at it back there. And then I also have some Analog Brain in a Digital World t-shirts in brand new royal purple. And these are really pretty and people love wearing them. They get you into some funny conversations, Analog Brain. And now you know what it means. So you can tell people. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff back there. It's my stuff, could be your stuff. And the last thing I want to say is I also have a newsletter. It's irregular, it's irreverent, it's just whenever. It's not every week or even every 2 weeks. It's just, I don't fill up your inbox. But I do try to keep it fun, funny, different, interesting, helpful. And if you want to test drive it, just sign up back there and you can try it out. You get a special surprise, a little gift for trying it out. And the other thing is you're always in charge of that newsletter. You can always unsubscribe or that kind of thing. So if you do sign up, I just have one request. I have to be able to actually read your handwriting. Well, it's tricky with email because the ones look like L's and the O's look like zeros and the S's look like 2's and the 5's look like something else. You have to pretend it's your lottery winnings form. And nobody is going to ever mistake this email address. It's so clear. All right, well, that's a commercial. Thanks for listening. Seems like I left something out, but I can't think of it. Anyway, shall we keep going? Yeah. We're doing okay? All right. Yes? Okay. She says yes. All right. Just for that, I'm going to do a song for you. Who said yes real loud? Okay. This is for you. You ready? This does not need an introduction. It's called Railroad Bill. Railroad Bill, he was a hard-living man. He used to take his women 2 at a time. And everyone agreed he was the baddest engineer that ever driven down the Santa Fe line. His name was known from the folks back home to the tippy-top of Telegraph Hill. And all the little boys, when they were sneaking cigarettes, used to dream about Railroad Bill. Now one day Bill was walking along and he saw a kitten stuck in a tree. When he saw what's the matter, he ran to get a ladder to set that kitty cat free. And Bill said no, ain't gonna do it, ain't gonna climb up no tree. This is a stupid song and no folk singer's gonna make a fool out of me. I said one day Bill was walking along and he saw a kitten stuck in a tree. When he saw what's the matter, he ran to get a ladder to set that kitty cat free. And Bill said no, ain't gonna do it, ain't gonna do what you said. This is a stupid song, and as far as I'm concerned, that cat can stay there till it's dead. I said, wait a minute, Bill, you can't argue with me. For God's sake, I just made you up. I got the pen in my hand, I want you up in that tree, and I want that cat unstuck. And Bill said, no, I hate cats. Ain't gonna climb for no cat. Why don't you have me save some beautiful girl who's tied on a railroad track? I said, maybe there'll be room in the 8th or 9th verse, but right now I want you up in that tree. I'm the writer, man. I got the pen in my hand, and you're supposed to listen to me. He said, you slime ball, why should I listen to you? You should be listening to me instead. I'm a railroad man, and if I was real, I'd separate your face from your head. You ungrateful brute, I cried. You pushed me too far. I gotta show you I can do as I please. So an earthquake came and it shook the whole terrain and it brought Railroad Bill to his knees. And then a tidal wave broke and everything got soaked and Bill was almost completely washed away. Then a big green monster from the planet Neptune landed and bit Railroad Bill on the leg. I got the pen in my hand. I can do what I want. I'm a bright new young talent on the rise. So get your butt up that tree or I swear you ain't gonna get out of my folk song alive. He said, you don't scare me. You might be funny, but you don't scare me. If you don't leave me alone, I'm gonna tell everyone where you stole this melody. But before he could speak, his tongue fell out, and he could not make a sound. But then he jumped on top of me and he grabbed me by the neck and he pulled me to the ground. Then he hit me in the stomach and he hit me in the face real hard, and I think he almost broke my nose. But just then a lightning bolt came out of nowhere and struck him between the eyes, killed him instantly. The cat came down from the tree, had a bowl of milk, went to sleep for the night. Railroad Bill is survived by a wife and 3 small children. Dear God, I love to write. I've got this buddy in Florida, college buddy, Harold. And I usually stay with Harold sometimes when I'm going through Florida touring in the winter. And Harold is an unusual guy. He's a lawyer, attorney, a lawyer. He's also a collector. He collects art. He's got very expensive art all in the house, sculpture out in the yard, and just one of his passions. He collects antique watches. He collects guitars. He's got a lot of very nice guitars, and he collects cats. So whenever I go visit Harold, there's usually 2, 3, occasionally 4 indoor cats. Then in the backyard, there's a fleet of backup cats that flow in and out of the backyard, and I'm not sure he's ever counted them. They're just always back there, and he feeds them, takes care of them. Somehow it all works. Well, for a long time, the main indoor cat was this big tabby named Winston. And Winston was a fairly normal cat, if you can actually use those 2 words together, except for one bizarre, quirky, freakish thing about Winston. He was fixated to the point of obsession on the refrigerator. So that whenever you got up to go to the refrigerator, Winston knew it. That was his gift. And by the time you got to the refrigerator and were about to open the door, he was sitting there waiting for the door to open. And as soon as the door is open, he's on his back legs with his front legs and his head in the bottom of the fridge, just making sure everything in here is dead. Not some of the time, every time. That was his obsession. So what happens is you get used to it. You know that he's down there. You know he's going to be looking in the fridge, so you just ignore him. Well, one time Harold went to the fridge, had to open the door and get something, and I guess while the door was open, he decided he needed to rearrange something or clean something. Anyway, the door was open longer than usual, and Winston, being a bright boy, decided this was his opportunity to get the full refrigerator experience, and climbed all the way in to that bottom shelf. Harold didn't see him, not looking down there. Closed the door and walked away, leaving Winston in cold storage. Obviously, this could have been horrible. This could have been a bad thing, but fortunately for Winston, Harold had to come back like 10 minutes later, get something else out of the fridge. But what I love about this story is the way Harold puts it. He says, there is no experience in life that prepares you for opening the refrigerator door and seeing something move. I mean, really, I'm thinking minimum screaming fit, maybe a heart attack. I can't even picture it. Anyway, here's a song about the fridge. And I'll tell you this, you know, you guys probably all had this wonderful lunch. Who made it, Helen? Wendy, where are you, Wendy? Are you in here somewhere? Still in the kitchen. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, God bless you. Anyway, I didn't. I can't eat before I sing or I just burp the whole time, which is not fun for us. So I'm, you know, about this halfway through a show, I'm getting a little peckish, you know, and if you're still hungry, you didn't have lunch, this is one of those songs that could very well kill your appetite. There in the back of my refrigerator, I see them laying low, scrunched up in foil and Tupperware tubs. No, I don't want to know what's lurking within, what's under those lids. It chills me to the bone. Leftovers are better left alone. Many years ago, I prepared a roast. There was much too much to eat. Now, I'm not one who believes in ghosts. What's this mystery meat? It's green and it's blue. It changed and it grew. Got a will of its own. Leftovers are better left alone. Strange transformations, moldy mutations, things are getting weird. And cheese can crawl, eggs can fly, and broccoli grows a beard. So don't kid yourself and say you're gonna have it for lunch some afternoon. You know the truth, changes have begun inside those dark cocoons. And when you get near, you'll swear you can hear theme from the Twilight Zone. Leftovers are better left alone. Leftovers are better left alone. Thank you. That goes out to my mom. My mom, God bless her, she's passed on. Very proud of her Scottish heritage, which means cheap. She was always using that to keep food way longer than any normal human would keep it around. And in the last few years of her life, she was kind of cute. She'd call me up and she'd say, "Come on over for dinner, honey, and I'll make a salad." And I would immediately start picturing that bottom drawer of the fridge with stuff in there older than I was. And it's like, you needed a hazmat suit to get close to it. And I said, "Oh, Mom, that's so nice. I'll tell you what, I'll pick something up at Chipotle." You like that. So that's what we do. Anyway, she and my dad were married for 58 and a half years, which I attribute to what I call the matching luggage theory of relationships. It's just that we all bring our own personal emotional baggage into the relationship. So the trick is to find somebody with matching luggage, because then at least you recognize it. It's familiar. It's that clashing luggage that drives you crazy. You've never seen it before. You don't know what to do. So that's what worked for them. They both had a lot of luggage, but at least it was the same luggage. Anyway, I was flying back from Chicago to Kansas City after a concert. And I got on the plane, and I had an aisle seat, and in the window and middle seat, there were two ladies already seated, and I could tell something was wrong. They looked very unhappy. And so I didn't say anything. I just sat down, and once the plane got up in the air, I said something like, "So are you coming home to Kansas City, or is this an away trip for you?" And they said, "No, we're coming home from burying our sister." And then I knew what was wrong. They were obviously just in tremendous amount of grief, and they were very, very sad. So I just said, "Well, tell me about her. What was she like?" Well, that was all they needed. Just another 15 or 20 minutes of talking about their sister, how much they loved her, how much they were going to miss her, how much fun they had growing up together, all the stuff they did back in the old days, who came to the funeral, who sang what, how beautiful it was. And finally they kind of petered out, and I said, "Well, that's really sweet." And I said, "I can kind of relate to what you're going through, because a couple of months ago I lost my dad." They said, "Oh, you lost your dad. We're so sorry." And I said, "No, it's okay. I felt really bad for 4 days, and then I wrote a song about it and changed everything." They said, "You wrote a song about your dad dying?" And I said, "Yep. It's called Chicken Soup for the Dead." Well, they just looked at me with shock, like you all are doing. And then they started laughing. They couldn't believe I said that. And the thing was, they couldn't stop laughing. All that grief was coming out as laughter. It was just like they just needed to hear something funny so they could let it go, and they did. And it was just really fun. I just couldn't believe how long it went on. So anyway, this is the song. The Chicken Soup for the Dead is actually the subtitle. The real title is So Long, Dad. Now, I talked this morning a little bit about the mystery of death. This is one way I've dealt with it, is writing this song. So now, see if I can remember how to play it. So long, Dad, it's time to leave your body and move on. Another chapter in your education. Even though I'm feeling so sad that you have gone, I hope for you this feels like graduation. They tell me that you travel through a tunnel full of light. Well, hopefully that's fun, not confusing. And if it's true you do a big review of your whole life, I hope for your sake God finds it amusing. body's gone, you're not forgotten. And go on to some better place above. If I do something good, I hope you're watching. I think if you meet your ancestors, there'll be much to say. You and all your relatives relating. And since bodies here on Earth need chromosomes and DNA, please thank them all for me for procreating. I hope there's peace and happiness for everyone who dies. God knows you had your share of life's frustrations. You never had a hole-in-one or one Nobel Prize. Maybe you could try reincarnation. So long, you're leaving with our love. I know you realize how very much. Go on to some better place above. And if it's possible, please keep in touch. So long, Dan. Thank you. So how are we doing? Okay, so let me just pause for a second here in case anybody came with a burning request.
I want to hear the one about being right.
About what?
Being right.
Being right. Okay. Good choice. Anybody else? Okay. All right. This is as I told you this morning, I have the disease occasionally. I have the disease of having to be right. Pick. So this is a story song. I wrote about it, and you can decide for yourself if it's a true story. It's called My Ride Home from Neptune. My ship had crash landed on Neptune. I was stranded for 25 years. I was sad and alone. I was chilled to the bone. And sometimes I cried a few tears. I'd given up all hope of rescue. Till one day from out of the sky, a ship came and landed on my lonely planet. And inside it there was this guy. He opened the door of his spacecraft, smiled right at me and he waved. And I said, hallelujah. And he said, howdy do you? And then he said, friend, are you saved? I said, I thought that's what you're doing. He said, no friend, I don't mean a ride. I mean saved by the Lord. And as I jumped on board, I said, sorry, I'm a new age kind of guy. Well, he gave me a lift back to Kansas. That trip made Neptune seem like a vacation. 'Cause all the way home, he was saving my soul till I was moved to retaliation. I said, you know, I once felt as you do. And the shock made his eyes open wide. And he asked, well, when was that? And I said, oh, it was a while back. In fact, it was in a past life. And when I died in that life and found heaven, I learned that everybody gets in. There were Buddhist and Muslim and Hindu followers. There were even astrologers. And then we all came back to Earth and had to live again. And then I said you're all wrong on the Bible, too. You should take it too literally. It's a beautiful story, but it's allegory. And Jesus was like you and me. Well, that really ticked him off badly. And we argued so loud and so long. For the rest of the trip, we were flapping our lips, proving the other one wrong. Till about 1 week out from old Earth Base, we were both too exhausted to care. There were 3 days of silence, fortunately no violence. And then he said, "Is there anything we share?" Well, I looked at him with new respect then. Said the one thing that I could think of. Said between you and me, maybe we could agree that what God's all about is love. Well, he sat there a while without speaking. Then he said, "Yes, Jesus told us that's true." So we just talked about love. He even gave me a hug, and we sang an old spiritual or two. Well, we got back to Earth, we were famous, 'cause they'd never seen such a sight. We did all the talk shows and wound up on Jerry Springer. And we were cool, but the audience had a fight. Well, the moral of this story is simple. If you think someone else is all wrong, just imagine you're stranded on some lonely planet, and one day your opposite comes along. All right. Thank you all so very much. All right, let me just look at my little list and see if anything is screaming at me. I'm thinking of doing like, one or two more.
All the atoms.
That was the one. Who's the psychic in the audience? Okay, I'm going to do this one first, and then we'll finish up with the atom. This is a true story, as opposed to the last song, if you weren't sure that was a made-up story. By the way, that last song I wrote for me and my sister. My sister, God bless her, was just an amazing, loving person. She and I were at opposite ends of a spiritual spectrum. She was a fundamentalist Christian, and I wasn't. And somehow it never got in the way. There was so much love there, it just never, ever got in the way. We just accepted each other and just focused on love. So that was part of the impetus for writing that song, was because I had a sister who wasn't going to let this get in the way. Well, this is another story song, and it's a true story. I may have said that already. It was told to me by the guy in the song, which I always like to point out should be kind of a heads up to all of you, that if you and I have a close personal conversation, and you don't want the rest of the world to know about it, you need to say that. In this case, I think he was pretty happy that the conversation turned into a song. Actually, it was interesting because I was in Key West. I was at Unity of Key West when this happened, and we were having a concert, and back then Unity of Key West was a pretty big church for a little island, and So we had a room about this size, and all the seats were full, and it was a fun group. We were all kind of riding this wave together, fun, except this one guy in the second row, right about where you are, Noel. He was close enough that I could see him clearly, and he was a big, scary-looking guy. He had a dark complexion, long, dark hair, big, bushy beard and mustache, dark eyes, and he was just sitting there the whole time glaring at me. And he was big enough that it was kind of intimidating, and I was a little nervous, and so I decided to try to work on him a little bit, see if I could loosen him up, and that didn't work. So finally I just said to myself, okay, forget about him and move on, and I did. Well, as soon as the show is over, he comes bounding up on the stage, grabs my hand, he says, I just got to thank you for what you did tonight. I said, really? Thanks, I never would have known you liked it. And he said, yeah, no, it was great. He said, my name is Gary Elston. I'm a marine biologist, and I'm also a boat captain. And what I do every day, and what I've been doing for 15 years, is I take people out in my boat about 4 miles off Key West, and we swim with these wild dolphins. There's a pod out there. And I just thought I'd see if you'd like to be my guest. So, easy decision. Next day we're in the boat. We're going out to where the dolphins are. Well, it takes about an hour. So all the way out there, he's telling me stories for this hour. They're just amazing stories of what he's witnessed in 15 years of doing this. It's like, wow, that really happened, and that really happened. So then he gets to this story, and I just thought, well, that's got to be a song. So here we go. And also, let me just tell you that I didn't change anything. All I did was make it rhyme and add a chorus. Captain Gary takes folks on the Dolphin crew, right up close, swimming in the sea. 15 years, this same pod, they know him well. And Gary knows exactly where they'll be. A mother came aboard with her 3 teenage children. 2 sons, a daughter, sullen and depressed. For 2 whole days the dolphins danced around the boat. But these kids just sat and looked down at the deck. And who knows what wisdom grows down below the sea? Why do great brains evolve with no puzzles to solve and no need for strategy? Well, finally on the 3rd day, the kids went in to swim. The dolphins gathered round them 40 strong. A group of them took the 2 boys out a ways. Gary'd never seen them stay that long. A mother dolphin and her baby chose the little sister and played with her a half an hour or more. And when the kids came back, something had shifted. They weren't as unhappy as before. The next day and the next one more remarkable. The dolphins were there waiting to be greeted. And all day long they kept the kids engaged. It seemed to know just what these children needed. And who what wisdom grows down below the sea? We can't hide what we feel inside, they can see through you and me. Well, by the end of the week, the change was startling. The kids were laughing, happy, the best of friends. Their mother said, this family of dolphins has given me my family back again. Then Gary said to her that he too felt transformed. The most amazing week he'd ever had. The mother said, I did not want to tell you this before, but 2 months ago my children lost their dad. And who knows what wisdom grows down below the sea. Maybe they know and they're trying to show us we're all one family. Thank you very, very much. Another little cheerful song about death, wasn't it? Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming today and making the, it occurs to me this would not be nearly as much fun without you here. It'd be a lot like practice. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you giving me a little bit of your life and spending it here this afternoon. I want to say a couple of quick things. I do this for a lot of conferences or other kinds of organizations. So if you're part of some other kind of group and you think I would be a good thing to inflict on them, because of course the performances are always custom tailored to the group and what kind of group they are and what they need. But the messages are always positive with a lot of humor. So that's one thing. The other thing is, as Kathy may have mentioned, I do host a lot of group trips. I usually do 1 a year, sometimes 2. This year we're going to England, Wales, not Wales, Wales, and going to wind up in Liverpool with a whole day just on the Beatles. It's going to be real fun. But I think that trip is full as of yesterday, I'm pretty sure. But if you want to get on the wait list or the mailing list, just sign up back there at the newsletter. Next year we'll probably go somewhere else, Ireland, I'm not sure yet, but that's one option. And then just thank you, Kathy, again, so much for making this happen. I really appreciate it. It's always so good to see you. And love you lots. All right, so we had a request for this. It's a little science lesson. And it's about something that's actually been going on in this room since we got in here. Nobody's aware of it, except me. But now you will be. It's called All These Atoms. You breathe out, I breathe in. We're sharing molecules again. Oxygen and hydrogen, but do you know where your atoms have been? Parts of me were once in you. Genghis Khan and Gandhi too. Jesus Christ and dinosaurs. Princess Di and Dinah Shore, there it is. atoms everywhere circle back so we can share. No escaping, yes, it's true. Parts of me were once in you. My whole body, smooth and hairy, is really very temporary. Every year, a new epidermis. Maybe next year's will be firmer. There's some atom somewhere in Spain I could use back in my brain. They stay a while and then they leave, but they only fit what we conceive. All these atoms here on Earth get recycled, death to birth, like some ever-changing brew. Parts of me are now in you. As hard as it might seem to be, parts of you were once a tree, once a fish in the primal soup. Something's dinner, something's poop. 15 billion years ago, that Big Bang was quite a show. All this time, now here we are. Parts of you were once a star. All these atoms we've collected only mean that we're connected. Since we share what we're made of, don't you think that calls for love? So take a deep breath, share some atoms. It's not like you have any choice. And we'll all be part of the Addams family. Okay, I tell you what, before we leave, I'd like you to do one little thing for me. I'd like you to turn and look at somebody sitting next to you or close to you. Just go ahead, turn and look at somebody. They don't have to be looking back, but look at them. And just think to yourself, what a lovely bunch of atoms. You know, some of those used to be mine. I hope you're enjoying them. So there were these two atoms walking down the street. First one saw the second one, and he said, "Hey, what's the matter? You look a little down." And the second atom said, "Yeah, I lost an electron." And the first atom said, "Oh man, I'm sorry, but are you sure?" And he said, "I'm positive." And I'm positive that this was a lot of fun for me. If it was fun for you, and if you could hear everything okay, give a hand to Chris back there on sound. Thank you, Chris. All right. I'll be out at the table if you want to take anything home or share a hug or have a chat, whatever. Thanks a lot. Thank you.